Okay, good morning, everyone. Please, welcome to today's morning market review. Please, can you all confirm that you can hear me so that we can actually get started? Good morning and happy new month. It's the beginning of another, interesting circle that we like to call a month. And I'm sure that for people who traded last month, I'm sure there was a lot of profits. I'm sure you were able to spot the opportunities. I hope you're able to understand, keep to the simple disciplines that you all, are practicing on the market. I hope you're able to take advantage. You understand what is happening. You know that as a trader, you can no longer think like a local politician. You have to think, what are these people looking at here? You have to actually, look at what's going on. How does that affect your market? You cannot actually trade blindly. You cannot just sit down, you want to take a buy, you want to take a sell, and you do not know what is moving your markets. You would actually find yourself making a lot of mistakes. And the good thing right now is that the market is actually changing. So it's a dynamic situation here. And if you're just able to spot the little dots, you know, you'd be able to take advantage. I mean, it's there, it's all over, the market, the money is all over there. I know for some of my clients, by the end of the month yesterday, they were actually making some really pretty withdrawals, and I was really, really excited. So hope we are all paying attention to the information, to the knowledge, because it is there. If you do not understand what is going on, that is why you have your account officer to reach out to, so that you guys are able to talk about these things, put it on the table. What is the economy doing? Don't forget, it is me and you deciding what is happening right now. That is, we're able to look at what is going on and take advantage of it. The knowledge is the power, don't forget. So we're going to start this very morning by looking at our Forex factory. Like a trader, you do not want to forget that you have a trader's Bible for you to look at how you can set yourselves for really good positions this morning. And it is the first day of the month of November. And trust me, if you've been on the market for a while, you'd be able to tell that once it is the end of the year, there is a lot of movement on the market. There's a lot of volatility. Things are happening, and you should be able to take advantage of it. So definitely, we have to now look at what is happening today. And if you've checked your Forex factory before, you'd be able to know that today is a very big day on the market. If you do not know that by now, then you're sleeping on something. Let me quickly share my screen. All right, please let's all confirm that you can see my screen. All right then. So we can see here that as much as we have the 1st of November, it actually came with some really beautiful news for us to trade. And look at it, beautiful. How easy is it going to be all day when you have Euro on the French bank holiday, Italian bank holiday? You already know that because of this, there is actually not going to be volatility going through that particular region today. We have both French and Italian bank holiday. Now, I know that most people pay attention to the red news, and I just want to see what's on the red, what the red envelope is saying. Try to go through it. You'd be able to spot, one or two currencies you can pair together and make some really good money in. Like now, there is actually French bank holiday, Italian bank holiday, so we will not be seeing any crazy movement from the Eurozone today. But then we have ADP non-farm employment change by 1:15 this morning. Sorry, this afternoon. And that is just enough to give the dollar some really good either buy or sell, depending on how the news would come out. And then by 3 p.m., we're seeing the ISM manufacturing PMI and JOLTS jobs opening and, high impact news. But the one that I'm actually very, very crazy about is by 7 p.m. That is federal funds rates, FOMC statement, and FOMC press conference. And we already know that as traders, when we talk about FOMC, when we talk about federal funds rate, we're talking about monetary policy. And we already know how the United States have been able to, increase interest rates from inflation started to this very moment that we are now. But investors are actually speculating. Like I said, as a trader, you do not want to actually think local. You want to be able to think about what would you do as an investor. So it's not like I want to trade, do I want to take it by yourself? For you to be able to understand these things, sometimes you have to learn to think as an investor so that you are able to take advantage of the opportunities. Now, the federal fund rates, we've been hearing them increase interest rate to 25 basis points, 25 basis points, 25 basis points. And now price or interest rate is at a point whereby we've actually seen regional banks collapse. And trust me, we've been also, we might be able to have paid attention to a couple of few, but we've also been able to see even merging of two banks just so that they're able to stay afloat. So trust me, inflation right now and interest rate is not funny. And as you can see how we are also going through it in the dollar right here. So everybody's fighting inflation. But then again, you're saying at what point, because they have to be a boundary, they have to be just like the way we have the debt ceiling, they have to be a ceiling, like you can't go past this because after that it's something else. And now the investors are saying, instead of us, having our money in a particular place, why don't we diversify? So that is why if you've not been able to follow the market recently, if you're saying you don't understand, then you need to see the things that are playing out. It's just like it's politics. What are we doing? Right? So we should be able to see these things, like I said, think like an investor. So now we're expecting fund rates, we're expecting these things to still remain the same because pushing it higher is not funny, and definitely they want to battle inflation. So now let's go to our chart. I like to start with my USD IDX, because definitely if you've been on the market, you'd be able to see that this is a very important currency on the market. The market is quoted in dollars. So you always want to know, depending on the instrument that you're trading. In fact, most of the instruments, you need to understand what your dollar is doing. We already know that some have negative correlation, some have positive correlation. However, like I said, this is a very interesting and dynamic time on the market, and you still want to be able to pick out what your instruments are actually doing. So we've been able to see here that, no matter the fall the dollar seems to have, they always have to be a comeback. And we've seen our dollar has been able to hit a proven resistance. Now, you see that it has been on this particular this particular point since, let's say, 4 days now. So let's say from last week, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yes, and it has all come to test this particular place. Now, don't forget that when we have fundamentals as big as FOMC, we might actually see some really slow movement in the market. Now, this is where your capital would actually play in. This is where your capital will actually help you make some really good money. We're not taking long trades right now because you want to be able to prepare yourself. Don't forget your fundamentals would always. Okay, so you guys are not seeing my screen. Okay. Sorry, give me a moment. All right. Okay, then. Sorry about that. So now you're actually looking at the market, and you know that you have fundamentals today that is actually going to, shaking up the market. So right now you want to take short trades. Don't forget that when you are actually taking trades, the first thing you always want to consider is the trend. What trend is on this market on? It tells you how long to stay on a trade and how short you should stay on a trade. So that what I'm trying to say is, would all hear traders say the trend is your friend. So you always need to understand that it is an enemy when you are trading against the trend. So when you check your market, you see this is an uptrend. It tells you that it is time for you to take shorter sells, because whatever sell that is going to happen on the uptrend is more of a retracement or a correction. So that is not a time for you to press your sell and relax. It's time for you to know that, okay, in, out, and that, like I said, there are times that your capital would actually do it for you as easy as possible. No matter the pips, like you're trading your US 100, you're able to go in with some good lot size. I can tell you, even if it's a couple of pips, you can still make really good money. And these are the times when you have these fundamentals lurking around in the market. These are the times that you want to, your capital is actually going to help you play out. So now I actually want to, if I want to take a trade on my US IDX right now, I've seen that it has tested this particular proven resistant, and the lowest candle that it has actually gone for 2 days is actually right here. So I'll take a sell when price actually breaks, or this particular candle. Like I said, you have the right amount of money going with the right amount of lot size, and then at 106.42, I'll conveniently, when it breaks my 23.6 fib, and follow it down to my 38.2. And if I actually do want to take a buy, I can actually scalp it up from right here. Like I said, this is where volume would speak, and follow it to my proven support, proven resistance at a very, good lot size, or I would actually wait for it to break about my 0.0. So definitely don't forget, it is not a time to actually spend on the markets. We have low volatility early this morning, but later in the day, we're going to see some really good movement. So it's time for you to use your power, which is your volume, to be able to scalp this particular market. Now, the fact that we're seeing it doesn't mean that it would not sell or it would not buy. One is definitely going to happen, but it is just to the limit that it is going to happen, because there is something actually, holding it. Investors are anticipating there is more of a standstill in the market, but you're going to still see activities happen. So now that would bring us to our gold. And then yesterday we saw the fall in gold, and honestly I wasn't even expecting it myself, because at this point in time, investors are in the market, they are diversifying, nobody's putting their money in a particular place. And if you have been able to watch gold and dollar, you'd see that these days it's more like gold is about to gain independence, because you see that normally we know that when the dollar is falling, the gold would be buying, but right now it's not almost acting the same thing. And then you ask yourself, what is happening? What's going on? What is changing? Like I said, the dynamics of the market is very beautiful. And if you're able to just put your mind to it, you'd be able to see all of it play out. And it's like, well, I said this thing. This is where knowledge is power. So definitely you can see that I even took a buy here, and for some reason I don't know what happened to gold. So this is all in anticipation of what the Feds would be saying. Investors are getting ready to see where am I going to pledge my alliance? Am I going with the dollar? Is the dollar still good? Or am I also going to put my money back into gold? So more like investors are trying to reserve so that they are able to go in at the right market at the right time, because them too, they are bidding, they're asking, they're buying, they're selling. So they just want to also know where they would make their profit. And as retail traders, what do? We follow them. You follow them. You do what you need to do. Understand, like I said, you cannot be thinking like a local politician if you want to make money in this market. You have to think like you're on the international table. You're sitting there making decisions with them. What would you do as an investor? You have about 100 billion that you just need, or you have, and you want to do something, you want to double it. You have to think like the big money for you to actually make the big money. So now I've been able to see that my moving averages 14, 21, and 50 stand as a resistance. And you can see that, funny enough, they are actually on 3 retracement points, which actually makes it interesting. So for me, as much as I've seen my fall in gold, I'll see gold like to pick up. So I'll take a buy once he actually breaks my first moving average. I enjoy using my moving average very much. I really do. It makes it easier sometimes because all you need to do is listen and take my first take profit. Now I'm going to have different entry points and different take profit. So this is going to be my first buy, take profit. Like I said, right now is not a time to stay so long in the market. So you want to use your volume to do the talking. Take my second entry point when it breaks my second period moving average, and then take my take profit just before it hits my 38.2. And then I believe that something of this too would happen before the fundamentals. But however, we all know that the market has a mind of its own too. And we wants to take, I want to take a sell, which I might not see happening. We could see that the market is respecting this line here. My sell would be from here, or I would actually take an instant sell and follow it down to this particular line here, which is at price 1975.26. That would be an instant sell and take my take profit here and buy just like this. Or if I want to play safe, I would wait till it breaks this particular line. But like I said, the market is in anticipation and we are also for it. Now, the Euro USD, like we already know, today is a market-free day on the Euro USD, and we might not actually see anything. Let's not forget that nothing has actually been pushing this Eurozone for a while now, as much as they've been trying to let us know how impressive some of their data have been. Like when they looked at Greece, it was actually they are picking up, but people it's still a lot of struggle happening in that particular time. So it's easy right here. You're already between a resistance and a support, and you've been able to see where we have just the minimal one here, right here. So like I said, volume, scalping. If price is able to break this place, let me mark it. Just follow it down on a good lot size to your verified support. So what I want you to do, right? I want you to spot out the lowest candle and the highest candle. Place a buy above the highest candle. Place a sell below the lowest candle. It's time for us to start doing the looking. You don't expect us to always tell you, all of these things. These are things you should look out for yourself. Like I said, it's a good day in the market. If you don't have the right amount of volume to scalp, please stay out of the market or you top up your account and you scalp. Sometimes these are where the money is. You might find the market going through that entry point almost 2 times in a day. Don't forget that the big show is coming by 7 p.m. That is the funds, and that is where we might see a lot of movement happen. But before then, would you stay out of the market or would you take advantage? So if it's time for you to top up your account, please do that. Make some money. Now, USD JPY. So the thing about the crazy thing or the funny thing about this particular JPY is as the world is actually suffering recession, inflation, sorry, it's more like they are chilled. Like, in fact, they are not even looking at doing anything. As of yesterday, they still did not increase their bank rate. Everything is still there. And it's like that is it. That is that not the dream? I mean, at a point whereby they are actually a world producing nation. When you look at China, you look at Japan, you see that everything that we own in Africa is actually made in China, made in Japan. It's just for them to change Africa to China and Japan, something like that. So, they have actually built their self in capacities whereby they don't really need to do it. They have everything they need because they produce everything. I don't know if that is too good or that is too bad. But for the yen, we've been able to see the dollar make some rounds with the yen this year. But as of yesterday, Bank of Japan is saying we're still not increasing interest rates. So like I said, money, lot size, it's time. Let's take advantage. We could take advantage of the highest candle, take a buy, follow it to 0.0 right here. We see that market has not been able to test even the verified resistance yet. So you don't want to be greedy in this point. Don't forget price action. You do not see markets get there. Don't go and push your take profit there. So try to always respect what market has done before. So take your take profit here. And then for a sell, you could do it here and then follow to this particular 23 points. Like I said, it's a good day, good volume, good money, even before the fundamentals. Now we're looking at US 100. And as much as this particular instrument have seen the market, I mean, I feel people drag this instrument once, something is going on because the volatility in it is good. It is really, really good. And, the amount of money you're able to make once you understand it is actually impressive. It's something that I do every day. So anybody who have actually been trading the US 100 knows that this particular instrument is a big respecter of support and resistance. Like it respects it so well that it's going to stay between a resistance when there is no news and between a support, and it is a news that would actually help break those resistance. So once you have a good eye, you are able to pick out really interesting entry points. So like I said, it already hit my verified resistance right here, and I'm waiting for my news to be able to break this verified resistance. We might see that happen just when the news comes out. So definitely a buy would be above. Now, you don't want to put it too close to your verified resistance. Don't forget that your resistance is a region. It is not a line. Yes, we are marking it. There's a mark of line there showing untested resistance, verified resistance, unquote resistance. But you need to understand that it is a region. So most times you would experience fake outs. And when I talk about fake outs, I don't know if you see this candle here with the wick. So normally when you see it, you think, oh, it has broken the resistance already. No, there is still something happening there. You can also see it in these three candles too. It went as far as here and still actually came back down and was not able to break the resistance. So you want to be able to give yourself space just above so that you're able to not experience fake out. So I'll take a buy at 14525.61, and then definitely if it's able, oh sorry, 16. So 14525.16. So I'll take my buy there, and I'll take a sell if price is able to break my moving average, 14 period moving average. But I'll also pay respect to this body, but the body of the green candle just below this green candle. Just below the green candle at 14444.49, and follow it down to my next moving average 50 period. Remember I said we might not see movements in the market this morning, and this is where your volume is speaking for you. So when we talk about those little peeps, those little leaps that you take, this is it. And the fact that market is waiting doesn't mean that there is no money. The money is still there. The opportunities are still there. So definitely let's look at US 30. So we already know that US 30 has a mind of its own sometimes, but still an index. And as of this week, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, we were looking at Apple's earnings, and we already know that in China they actually stopped the use of this Apple product. So they were also they're looking at knowing how much they are going to be losing, because definitely they're out of one the biggest markets in the world. So imagine, with that kind of economy, you have a product that is outshining others, Apple is really making money, honestly. So definitely they had to know how much that is going to cost them to have an economy as big as China, not have Apple on the market. So definitely, it is actually a very important index in our US S&P 500 as well. So definitely, I really have not gotten the news to how that actually came out, but looking at it, I didn't think they were too happy about it. So definitely still respecting this trend line, which my FIB has been able to create for me. I would expect a buy once price bounces off here. That is, once it's able to start again above my 38.2, I will take my buy and take it somewhere around here. Yes, before it hits my verified resistance, So if price just takes up from here, you take my buy, and the sell, I'll see if you only have, if it's able to break this particular trend line. Yeah, somewhere around here, and I will take my sell down to the untested resistance. I hope we're actually, and then oil. So funny enough, starting this market, I wasn't actually a fan of oil, but these days oil has actually piqued my interest. It is something that, I'm looking for how this is actually going to play out. And I feel that if you're a trader of oil, you should understand your price action by now, because that is a very big play out when it comes to trading your oils. So the thing about oil is it is very reactive. I heard my clients say, God, Anita, the money that I've actually made on oil is crazy. I've also heard my clients said, Anita, I actually just blew my entire account on oil. The decision on what you do on oil is yours. We are seeing wars happen. We're seeing Russia invade Ukraine. At that point in time, if you've been on this market for a while, once Russia invaded Ukraine, where did oil get to? For we saw oil skyrocket. In fact, it was faster than a fighter jet. And for people who were able to take advantage of that particular move, they knew how much they made. So right now, if you're actually my client, you'd see that there was a news yesterday because I posted it for my clients to see that oil could get to $150 per barrel. Now, the keyword there is could. It could. But the question we want to answer is will it? So now you need to put together all the pieces. What is going on? Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine. And these are in the Middle East. This is where the oil is. Russia already is, they've given them sanction, sanction, sanction. In fact, they are used to sanctions. And now that winter is about to come, they are saying, you know what? We don't even want to sell oil because they know that whether they like it or not, the world needs oil. We've seen China buy cheap oil from Russia. I mean, right now, since people were not really buying from there, China was there to actually take over. Now, let's not forget that the US is also divided between two wars. The US are here with Russia, with Ukraine, and the US are there with Israel. For the first time, we are seeing politics play out. Biden visited a country that was actually still in war. I mean, he had to break the rules. He had to do something. So that tells you how important that these things are and how they are playing out. Let's not forget that last month, the US were also saying October 1st, we are going on lockdown because there is no money to run the economy. And then all of a sudden, they owe Ukraine 22 million to help continue the war, and now they are supporting Israel in the war. These things are actually basic politics, and they are actually very interesting once you're able to sit down and look at them. So definitely, we might see oil to be at 85.71 right here, but oil is still going to go up. Now, your trick to trading oil. Now, the fact that they're saying oil might get to 150, they're not saying that, okay, it's time for us to we're going to just see a long buy from maybe 87 to 150 because I know that's what some people will be thinking. But the thing right now is where can we take the opportunities? What can we actually spot out in the market that we can take advantage of the buys? Because the truth is, if you're a big trader, money trade that is, you trade long term, this is where you'd actually make a lot of benefits. But definitely you need the capital to do that. And like I said, one key to trading oil, you cannot trade oil on a little account. It is a very reactive instrument. It reacts to the instant demand and supply change. Instant. It doesn't have to be on the Forex factory. Something is happening, your oil is moving. So your capital has to be able to hold you. Because once you're able to have that capital to hold you, I can tell you that you would make immense recovery. I've tried it before and I'm telling you it happens. So definitely I would enter an instant buy right now with oil to my tone code support. And if I want to play it safe, I would actually wait till it breaks above my tone code's resistance. Sorry. And then I would take a sell once it's able to break here. Don't forget that we have a lot of things going on in the market. We might not see instant moves, but once you have the right amount of capital, the right amount of lot size, you would actually make some really cool money. So I think that it is from me. And I actually saw that somebody was asking, my name is Anita Danladi. So now I'm going to give it to my colleague to actually take over from here. Thank you very much. And please make some money.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. And my name is Femi. So, I would actually be continuing from where my colleague actually stopped. But before I actually move on further, let me just update you with some news or some of the happenings in the global financial markets. Now, presently now, yesterday when the news was actually being released, there was a news as regards whether the interest rate is still going to be paused or whether there's going to be more like an increase in the interest rate. And there has not been anything said as such, but just like you know, in the international system or international markets, some of the things that happens is that even when we talk about how do I call it now? When you talk about happenings too, you can actually read whatever is going to happen. And the thing is this: when you talk about the pause in interest rate, is not actually sustainable. All right. So before the end of this year, we might actually see US dollar or the US themselves actually increasing the interest rate, of which this will actually bring about a lot of movements in the markets. That's one. Two is that yesterday there was actually a kind of rise in US 100, and just like my colleague did said, you saw that US 100 actually did rise, and gold also to some certain extent also was actually buying, and you'd see that dollar index was also very, very strong. Now, all these things was as a result of the fact that one, they actually gave Silicon Valley Bank, they gave them some kind of leverage for them to actually, consideration to start work back. If you could remember vividly last year, you'd see that for last year, Silicon Valley Bank as well as some other banks, they actually did collapsed. And the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank as well as all these other banks which we have actually did discussed about led to a decline in what US 100 could actually do. And I challenge you all to actually go back after this particular class and read about Silicon Valley Bank. You'd see that Silicon Valley Bank itself, it's responsible for development of US 100 as well as innovations, new innovations. So since this bank actually did collapsed, there has not been so many innovations, or just to say pumping of money into the market. So you can actually see why US 100 as well as other indices has actually been doing more of a sell. All right, you have that. Then for oil, we have issues between Israel and Hamas, and you'd actually see that for last week there was a forceful shutdown of US as well as some of their war tanks out of that particular zone, US embassy as well as all those other United Nations and people that are actually there just to make sure that they can actually suppress and curtail war. They were forced out of that particular region because there is no fuel for them to actually did carry out some of their movements. So these are some of the things that are actually affecting the markets at the moment. Then when you look at news that actually came out yesterday from um Forex Factory. Notable, or do I say noteworthy, is the fact that for some of these particular news that came out yesterday, when you look at unemployment cost, as well as for New Zealand dollars, we can take them as part of the Eurozone. Some of the news that actually came out for them was that unemployment rates, it came out very, very negative for them. And this actually led to the fact that things didn't really go well with them. So let me just share my screen so that we can just continue from where my colleague did. All right. So firstly, for today, I'll be looking at USD CAD. Firstly, for today, I'll be looking at USD CAD. Now, for USD CAD, one of the few things which actually moves CAD itself is oil. All right, because the Canadian economy actually focuses more on what oil is doing, because it's a kind of petroeconomical kind of economy, and you see that the decline in oil has not really been giving them so much movement, which actually tells us of the fact that dollar has still been gaining a lot of strength. All right, dollar has actually been gaining a lot of strength. For this particular instrument, you can actually enter at current market price. All right, you can enter at current market price, more like an instant execution, while you take your profit at 1.38830. You can enter for USD CAD at current market price, while you take your profit at 1.38830. You can take your profit at 1.38830. Alternatively, if you are to do anything, you can actually enter into a sell. That is if price breaks below the weak support that we are having. All right, you can enter for a sell if price breaks below the weak support that we're having at price level 1.38522. 1.38522, while you can actually take your profit anywhere you feel comfortable. You can take your profit anywhere you feel comfortable, but sure, below before you get to this proven support, so you can actually take your profit. All right. Away from this, we move to NZD USD. NZD USD. Now, looking at NZD USD, one thing about NZD USD is that it does exactly what GBP USD is actually doing. Yes, if you check your chart on GBP USD as well as NZD USD, they have the same pattern. And reason being that when you look at NZD as a whole, they're actually under UK as a government. That's Baba Charlie. So they're actually under UK as a government, and King Charles is still the one that supersedes or does a lot of things which we see. So because of that, you tend to see them working in similar directions. All right, so for NZUSD, you can actually see that for this morning, markets has actually gone as far as this, but you can see presently that there was a decline, which actually tells us of the fact that it has started selling. So you can only see this sell if you go to a lower time frame. So take for an example, I'm actually on 1 hour, but we can actually see that there has actually been a retracement on 1 hour. So if you go to a lower time frame, you see that this retracement would tells you of a sell. You can actually see the sell now. On 1 hour, you are going to be seeing a retracement, but on lower time frame, you'd actually be seeing a sell. So what you can actually do is that on NZD you can decide to enter for a buy if price gets to price level 0.58202. 0.58200, you can enter for a buy if price gets to price level 0.58200. Then you can actually take your profits around 0.58255. 0.58255. Alternatively, you can actually decide to enter for a sell. That is if price breaks below price level 0.58155. 0.58155. Then you can take your profits at price level 0.58112. Price level 0.58112. All right. Now, away from this, let's also see GBP USD. GBP USD. So for GBP USD, you'd see that almost the same movement which you have on GBP CAD, just like I did made mention of, is still the same thing you're actually having on this same particular instrument too. You can actually see that they have more like the same movement, NZD USD as well as GBP USD as the same movement. So for this particular one, you can actually decide to enter for a buy. That is if price breaks below the highest of what we have actually seen for today, why you can actually enter for a sell around this region. So if you take it back to more like a smaller time frame, more like 15 minutes, so you can enter for a buy if price gets to price level 1.21607, price level 1.21607, why you can actually decide to take your profit at price level 1.21729. 1.21729. Then alternatively for a sell, you can actually decide to enter a sell. This is when price gets to price level 1.21467. 1.21467. Then you take your profit before you get to this weak support. You can actually decide to take your profits around price level 1.21372. Price level 1.21372. All right. Then USD JPY. All right. So my colleague did USD JPY. Let's go to GBP CAD. GBP CAD. All right. So for GBP CAD, just on 1 hour time frame, GBP CAD. So we can actually see that GBP CAD actually been more of a buy. At least for this morning, you can actually see that it has actually been more of a buy. And I said it earlier on that the Canadian dollar has not been doing fine, mainly because of the fact that oil has not been giving us that profit which we did expected that it would give to us. All right, so it has gotten to this verified resistance. So what is actually advisable is that if you want to continue on a major buy, we can decide to buy. That is if price breaks this particular verified resistance conveniently. So you can actually decide to enter for a buy at price level 1.68737. 1.68737. While you take your profit around price level 1.68860. 1.68860. All right. 1.68860. Then for the sell, you can enter a sell at price level 1.68559. 1.68559. Then you can take your profit at the lowest of today. That's around price level 1.68395. 1.68395. All right. So let me do Euro JPY. I see someone talking about Euro JPY. I do this, then I move to D30. All right. Let me change. So for Euro JPY, we would see that for JPY, this morning we had final manufacturing PMI, which actually did came out very, very strong. All right. It came out very strong for JPY, and that's why we're having most of how do I call it now? Most of these particular movements which are actually having on JPY, which means that JPY is actually strong at the moment. And for the Eurozone, you can actually see that for today, they're having French bank holiday as well as Italian bank holiday, of which these are some of the things that makes up to the good movement or volatility which we have on this particular instrument. But since they're actually on holiday, we might not be seeing much of a major movement on this particular instrument. All right, but for us to actually do justice to this instrument, you can actually decide to enter at price level 159.738. That is if price successfully breaks and closes below this weak support which you're having, you can enter for a sell around price level 159.738. 159.738. Then you take your profits around 159.466. 159.466. But alternatively, if price decides to do a major pullback, you can enter for a buy around price level 160.024. 160.024, while you take your profit around 160.270. 160.024, then you can take your profit around price level 160.270. Now to DE30. DE30. Now, when we talk about DE30, one of the major factors or one of the major things that makes DE30 moves that well is the Eurozone. All right, is Eurozone. And for most part of what we can actually see, you can actually see that the Eurozone has been doing they have actually been doing fantastically fine, at least for the start of this particular week. When you look at DE30 for this week, you saw that DE30 actually did opened with a gap up on Monday, and ever since then it has actually been doing more of an higher highs. So you understand? So I've been doing more of an higher highs, and for this morning we've had a major movement, and presently now on 1 hour time frame we can actually see this particular move candle coming downward, doing more of a sell. But I can actually tell you that this sell would not really hold any water, because it's just for a short period of time. We'll still see the D30 doing more of a major buy, and you can actually see that my trigger line is actually holding it more like a support region, which actually tells us of the fact that it's not going to do more of a major sell. We are going to be having more of a buy on this particular instrument for today. And if you look at it on smaller time frame, you can actually see that it's actually doing more of it should be buying on smaller time frame. Just hold on. All right, so you can actually see that is having more of a pullback now, just like I said. On smaller time frame, is having more of a pullback, which tells us of the fact that the sell we are seeing would not really hold water. So for today, you can actually decide to enter for an instant buy. You can decide to enter for an instant buy on D30. You can decide to enter for an instant buy on D30, while you take your profit around 149.58.4. 149.58.4. You can decide to enter an instant buy, and you enter and you take your profit around 149.58.4. All right. Then alternatively, if you want to enter for a sell, you can say to enter a sell around price level 14919.6. 14919.6. 14919.6. Then you can decide to take your profits around price level 148.98.6. 148.98.6. 148.98.6. All right, that's that on DE30. That's that on DE30. All right, can you hear me now? One last instrument, and then we'll be done for the day. All right, so let me go back to that USD JPY. Presently you can actually see that USD JPY has actually been more of an uptrend ever since the beginning of this particular week. You can actually see that it has been more of an uptrend, and it's still doing that at the moment. It's still doing that at the moment. So for you to actually enter for a favorable buy on this particular instrument, you can actually enter for a buy at the highest of today. You can enter for a buy once price gets to 151.461. 151.461, while you can actually take your profit around 151.624. 151.624. 151.624. Then alternatively, you can enter for a sell if price gets to price level 151.246, 151.246, then you can take your profit around 151.055, 151.055, 151.055. So that's all for today on money market review. For the news are actually coming out. We have some fundamentals coming out for today. One, we have ADP non-farm employment change, which is going to be coming out by 1. Be sure to actually support the dollar during this period because you might actually be making a lot of money. Do not go against the dollar. ADP non-farm employment change. You can actually see that previous was 89K, while the forecast is around 149. Why the forecast is around 149. And for this one, it actually tells us the fact that actual greater than forecast is good for currency. Just hold on while I share the screen so you can actually see. All right. So you have ADP non-farm employment change. It's going to be coming up by 115. So the forecast is actually 89K. Why the previous is 89K, why the forecast is 149K. And for this particular one, actual greater than forecast is good for currency. Actual greater than forecast is good for currency. For some of the things that actually happened during the course of last month, I can actually tell you that non-farm employment change will actually come out positive for it to come out positive for the dollar. So be sure to actually support the dollar during this particular period so that you can actually make some money. Then also by 3 p.m. we are going to be having ISM manufacturing PMI. ISM manufacturing PMI. Actually greater than forecast is good for currency, but you can actually see that both the forecast as well as the previous is actually the same figure. So be sure to actually look out for these particular ones too. But even if this comes out bad, we have other data that actually support or give actually strength to the dollars, which is JOLTS job openings, which tells us of the number of job openings during the reported month, excluding the farming industry. So you actually be seeing this, and I can actually tell you that this would actually also give rise to the dollar. Then by 7 p.m. we are going to be having a lot of news too, and also crude oil inventories. This might actually push oil up a bit, so you need to actually be watchful and look out for oil too. Then by 7 p.m. we are going to be having federal funds rates, FOMC statements, FOMC press conference. I can actually tell you that market is going to be sweet today. All you just need to do is to have some money in your own account so that you can actually take advantage of the market. And when you are trading some of these particular news, you can actually do it in 2 ways. One, you can actually decide to actually enter for you can do what we call a pending order. That's actually before the market. All right, you can do a pending order, which if you know you're actually cool with a pending order, you can do a pending order. But one thing about pending order, which I've come to see, is that if you are doing that, you might just put stop loss for each one, but make your entries open. Like, don't put take profit region, so that you can actually take advantage of the market as so long as you have that. Then you can actually decide to trade the retracement, but the retracement sometimes might not be that too sure, just like you think it is. You might think it's going to retrace and market would keep on all right, going. So that's that for money market review for today. In case you're having any challenges, please feel free to reach out to your account officer. If something is not clear to you, reach out to your account officer. They will be here to assist and attend to you. And for some of you that are saying that you do not know whom your account officer is, kindly send a mail to respond to any of the mails which you get from Rally. Your account officer will get that particular mail and they can actually do a follow-up on that. Thank you for today, and do have a peaceful month ahead. Thank you.